Hey y'all, welcome back to Mirror Expressions, a channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you all, and I invite y'all to come in the house and do the same with me. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop me a mirror emoji in the chat if you have looked at a mirror today and you feel A1 with what you see looking back at you. And if not, as always, I encourage you to do what you must, so that when you look in that mirror, yes, honey, yes, you are A1 with what you see looking back at you. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead, get into it, get cracking, lacking. Let's get this ship moving. This is Married to Medicine, the reunion part 2. We left off with Anila being asked if she felt like Toya had any knowledge of her robbery, or if she was involved with it in any kind of way. And of course, after this long dramatic pause, we finally get a no from Anila or whatever. Andy then asks Mom, why is this a good time to be a Black doctor? And so she brought up how there's just an imbalance of health services when it comes to the Black population. And she used Serena Williams as an example, like when she said she felt like she had another pulmonary embolism and her doctor didn't believe her. And it wasn't until she kept pushing for certain tests to be ran that they found out that, hey, she really did have a pulmonary embolism going on at the time. So we just kind of see the different doctors doing things. Jackie ends up giving an update on Audra and how she's doing with her pregnancy, being that she's her obstetrician or whatever. They talk about Anila being Kieran's pincushion, which she says she loves. And then he's so messy, y'all. He gonna ask Anila, has Quan had any work done? Here go Anila, no comment. And y'all know Quan, she was basically like, don't do me, boo. Don't do me, because I had nothing done. Anyway, they end up getting on the overturning of Roe versus Wade, and Heavenly basically said a white man or any man, period, just does not have the right, they shouldn't have the right to dictate what a woman does with her body. And pretty much all the women on the panel agreed. Andy then brings up Toya. We see her package next about her little, I didn't mean little, but her marital issues and the rumors and the things that, she and Eugene just faced, like the different challenges, or like how Kieran and Anila had the little jokey joke about dressing up as movers and all that. So, of course, Toya stands behind them moving because it was just a smart thing to do. And they made so much money. She pulls out her receipts. And, who knows? You know what I'm saying? I think Andy asked Heavenly, does she believe it? And Heavenly, or did she think, not if she believed it, but if she thought it was a good idea for them to make that move. And so Heavenly was pretty much like, yeah, if you were going to kind of get that kind of return off of it and you have bills that need to be paid, then definitely yes. So they kind of get into it over there because Toya was just like, we ain't had no bills. We basically pocketed all that money we got. And Heavenly was like, I saw the papers Audra had, and y'all had them liens. And Toya was like, basically, what paper? She ain't had no papers. What she's saying is not true. And yada, yada, yada. So, you know what I'm saying? They did end up showing all of the different homes that they've been in since the start of the show, period. It was just like one house after another house after another house. And so Heavenly and Quan were just over there cracking themselves up as they're showing all these different houses that they've been in. I said, they know they wrong for that, laughing at the people like that. But anyway, one of the viewers wrote in and said that it sounds like that Eugene and Toya are chasing money versus being smart with their investing, right? And so Toya thing was like, well, who on this stage isn't chasing money? Here go Contessa. Me, I love money. I love it. Like, oh, Contessa got on my nerves this whole reunion. I don't know about y'all, but the part one, it was like she irked me by saying the girl valuables were crushed up into her little ugly hair bow. This reunion, it's just like little things he was saying. And then, like I said, the first part one, she just looked so pageantry. Even like when she would get into it, she was like, no, I can't explain it, but anyway, normally I don't have nothing against Contessa, but I think she did irk me this whole season period with this stuff between Heavenly and then just, I don't know, y'all. I don't want to sound biased, but anyway, let's just keep it moving. So the conversation then switches to Eugene, right? We still on Toya. And so she starts crying because, you know, she says she feels alone. You know what I'm saying? And so Andy ends up asking her, well, do you still feel alone? And what's Simone gonna answer? Not as much. Simone, first of all, you are not Toya. Second of all, Toya is a grown-ass woman with her own grown-ass mouth and her own grown-ass thoughts where she can speak for herself and say how she feel. And then it was just like, Toya just mimicked her. Yeah, not as much. But then in the next breath, she came back and said she does still feel lonely because she didn't feel any support from her friends. Like, so meanwhile, we see backstage, the men are there backstage. They showed up on the scene finally because their segment is about to come up. So they're backstage, and Eugene is telling the other guys that it's really, really bothering him to see Toya cry because she's one of those people, you know, that doesn't cry very easily. So when she does, he knows it's something serious. You know what I'm saying? She's experiencing some extreme emotions then. So back on the stage with the women, you know, Toya had said, you know, she didn't feel supported by them. And so Jackie said, well, you don't listen. You like to challenge advice that is being given to you. And Toya said, you weren't there. You just weren't there for me, but I was there for you when you were going through your stuff with Curtis, right? And so Jackie said, yeah, you were there telling me it was my fault. I said, ooh. And so they end up showing a little playback where Toya was telling Jackie that Curtis cheated because he's feeling lonely. And I was like, oh, okay. So he cheated because he was feeling lonely by his doctor wife. So you're saying you feel lonely from your doctor husband. So are you cheating too? Like, is that the assumption we should make? You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? Who knows if the rumors are true or not? But anyway, so Toya was like, you know, nobody ever called. You didn't call and check on me. And so the thing was, you know, that Jackie was like, you know, we don't talk like that. Of course, I didn't call, and I didn't even know to call. I didn't know you and Eugene were having problems to call. And so the thing was then, well, after you found out, did you call? And so Jackie said, you know, she just kind of felt it would be inappropriate to call just to ask about her marriage, you know, but ultimately she did agree that she could have called in and at least checked on her or whatever. So Andy said, you know, where has this cheating rumor come from? And Quad said, the Heavenly said that Simone said. Quad ended up saying that Heavenly had told her that Simone had told her that Toya was cheating. It was just not with the person that they thought it was with or whatever. So Simone, of course, fervently denied that she started that rumor, especially to Heavenly, telling it to Heavenly, who is on social media, and of course, tells everything she knows out on the social media. So she's just like, heck nah, I wouldn't have told Heavenly anything like that. So Quad did say that the women in Toya's neighborhood all had got together over to Anila's house one day, just have their little powwow, drinking it and kicking it and talking shit about people like they do. And the rumor came up there, and Anila ended up coming and tell Quad. So, of course, Anila tried to backtrack. No, I didn't tell you that. That's untrue. And I said, I believe Quad on that one. I believe that is exactly what happened. And I believe Anila picked up their phone probably before all them women left the house and told Quad what it was. You know what I'm saying? I see Anila do a lot of backtracking. I don't like that either. She getting on my nerves with all of that. So then Andy said, well, he's talking to Anila, but why didn't you just tell Toya about the rumor? And so Quad said, she spoke up and said, well, she didn't because she wanted to hurt Toya, basically. So I could appreciate that honesty. She said, she perpetuated the lie because she was being hurt by the rumor about her sleeping with her contractor. And so, she said she knew that would hurt Toya, and so she kept at it. And so she does apologize to Toya in that moment. And Toya was just like, I accept your apology, but the rumor about the contractor never came from me. I never said anything about that. You know what I'm saying? So then Andy asked Jackie, well, how would you have felt if everyone was gossiping behind your back about you and Curtis when y'all went through what y'all went through with Curtis having an affair? You know what I'm saying? So Jackie said it's not an if, it did happen. Like, basically, they did talk about me behind my back. And Jackie was just like, it happened. She didn't let it bother her because she just did what she had to do for her marriage, and she kept moving. Pretty much. And so, and I think that is good because, like with contestant Sky, if you don't stay, you can't let everybody else be in your ear. You got to do what's best for your marriage. If that's a choice you made, then you got to stick to it and just move forward. You know what I'm saying? So, you can't continue to keep that mess or whatever that thing was. You can't keep bringing it up because then you're never going to be able to heal and move from it. You know what I'm saying? So you need to face it, move, deal with it, and then try to move forward in the best way you can. But you're not going to do that if it's constantly being brought up. And one way to keep that going is to engage people when they're talking about these things. You know what I'm saying? So I get what Jackie was saying with that. Quad, it came up about Quad supposedly setting Anila up with the whole Zaina, bringing the Zaina to her housewarming party, and Anila, swear that there was no malice or ill intent with her bringing Zaina to the party. She was just being a friend and bringing her, you know what I'm saying, giving her a ride there. And so Quad was just like, to all this, he was just like, I don't need a puppet. and I don't know what to believe with all of that and the Zaina thing. I think it was all understood exactly what Zaina was there for, because especially when we saw that clip of Anila telling Zaina, I need you to do this for me and spread the rumor, and you know what I'm saying? Like, Anyway, Andy asked Toya, well, how are things down between Anila and herself? And she said, I don't know. I don't know. We hug, we make up, and then I turn around and I'll see how she's talking about us. And so Anila said, I don't even believe the rumor. I never believed the rumor. And Toya said, that's what makes it even worse then. You're sitting here perpetuating a rumor that you say you feel isn't even true. So why are you trying to tear down my marriage, basically? And I agree with Toya on that. That would hurt even more. If you know it's not true and you know this is going to be damaging to my marriage or have the least a possibility to be damaging, why do it? Why continue it? You know what I'm saying? And so then, only thing Anila could say to that, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. And like Toya said, the fact is that you didn't believe it, but you still did. So she's not addressing the part that she still was perpetuating this rumor. Like, Anila, she could act real dingy sometimes. And sometimes I think it's not an act, but sometimes I think she uses it to try to skate on by things. And this is one of those moments. And then she's going to try to deflect like, well, everybody was talking about it. And then when she even apologized, she's going to say, well, I'm sorry if the three of us were talking about this room. Honey, just get the F out of here. Because you can't sit here and apologize for three people talking about something. You have to apologize for your own answer. So in there, I just felt like she was trying to, again, deflect or spread the responsibility of sharing this room around with other people. Like, like, get on out of here, Anila. Get on out of here. They end up breaking for lunch or whatever. And so when they come back, well, let me say this. So at some point, we see Anila and Quad on their little trailer on the bus where they got dressed, the little dressing rooms. And Anila come, like Quad sitting down, and Anila comes in. So she's standing up and she's trying to get out of Quad's face, talking about she felt ganged up on or whatever. And Quad said, Anila, you're lying. Are you afraid of something? Then Anila tried to say, no, you the one scared. You know what I'm saying? I'm not scared. You need to take accountability. And Quad was pretty much looking like, girl, get out of my face. Y'all know Quad. She was unbothered, whereas Anila was all hype. Like, but anyway. So when they come back from the commercial or whatever, they pick back up with the heavenly intervention, right? So after they show the package, Andy asks the ladies, well, let's take a poll. Who here has heavenly talked about? And so everybody raised their hand except for Jackie for a minute. And then Heavenly gonna remind her, well, I said you look like such and such a, I think she said Jackie looked like a boy or something. So everybody raised their hand. Then then Andy asked, well, who here has whose finances has she shaded? And they raised their hands. And then the next one was, well, whose fashions has she made fun of? So he's trying to basically say, Heavenly always talking about somebody, always talking trash about somebody, you know what I'm saying? And then the last thing he said was, who believes that Heavenly and Dr. Damon have sex every day? Even Heavenly herself raised her hand, baby. Heavenly rose both hands. She was like me. So they made for a good laugh. They made, because everybody know they are not getting it in like that. Heavenly is not getting it in like that. Anyway, Andy ends up asking Contessa why she didn't talk to Heavenly about the whole social media stuff versus letting it build up and then having an intervention. Contessa said she did. Heavenly is like, nope, no you didn't. No you didn't. And then even Jackie ends up chiming in because I think Andy was just like, well, when's the last time y'all even talked? And so Jackie chimes in about this conversation that it seems like at one point it seemed like all three of them were on the phone at the same time having a conversation. Then at one point it seemed like maybe Heavenly and Contessa had been talking, and then Heavenly and Jackie talked, and then Jackie went to talk to try to smooth things over with Contessa. So I'm not exactly sure how it all went down, but she does bring up about the conversation they had. And And so that was basically the last time that they talked. And they, in that conversation, they were talking that Contessa was supposedly talking trash about Scott, and then Heavenly basically told her to stop it. Like, if you're gonna stay with him, then you need to shut the F up, basically. And so Contessa said that's all a lie. I believe that conversation did happen. I do believe, because it's been said too many times. And then you got two people saying the same thing versus just one. So yeah, I believe that conversation happened. Anyway, Andy said that, he got the impression that Contessa and Scott were not on the best of terms last season either. You know what I'm saying? So Contessa says she denies telling things to Heavenly about their relationship. She didn't confide in her. And so she said the reason she started talking to Heavenly was because Heavenly just was not a good friend. And I'm just like, see, Contessa, you're not telling the whole truth. Because, It's beyond that. It's beyond that. So the two of them, they just start going back and forth to back, up and down, left to right. Y'all know how they do. And can't nobody hear nothing. They just talking over each other. They dropping L-bomb. They calling each other bitches. And you know how it goes. So anyway, Andy asked Simone, with her being open about her marriage to Cecil, is it fair game for the other ladies to talk about it? And now, if I remember correctly, now I don't really recall Simone answering that question, but what she did was go into trying to get Heavenly to see Contessa's point of view about how she thought their friendship was deep enough that Heavenly would not take her and Scott's problem to the social media platform, right? She thought they were above that. So Heavenly said, you're right, but I didn't know it was a problem until months later. Had Contessa been upfront with me, I would have stopped. And to that, I don't know, Heavenly. I don't know if you would have stopped, but who's to say? Andy said, well, why don't you just stop if you know it's causing tension amongst the ladies in the group? You know what I'm saying? So we get a snippet of the men again. In the back, Dr. Damon is telling them that, it bothers him because he feels like he can't chill and hang out with Scott like he used to just because their two wives are not getting along or whatever. And I'm sure that is awkward. I'm sure that does put them in a unfavorable position, like, because on one hand, you, of course, want to support your wife, but in her decisions, but then on the other, you still have your own relationships and you had established your own friendship with that man, with that woman's husband. You know what I'm saying? So I get it or whatever. So Quan says, she does feel like Heavenly tried to clean things up a bit with her social media after the intervention had happened, right? But then she turned around and just went right back to the same old things. And so Heavenly said, yeah, she did. She started cleaning things up a bit, but she went back because she started seeing how everybody was coming for her. And Quan was just like, well, when are you going to value your friends, right? And Heavenly said, I think I already have changed. And if there's anything else you need me to do, just let me know. Quan said, I need you to be more aware of how the things you say can affect people. And then Heavenly gonna turn around and say, now this is how you do an intervention. I'm just like, Heavenly, it ain't gonna stop you though. So talk about this, how you do an intervention, having that talk back and forth. That ain't gonna stop you no more than that intervention did. I will say though, I think had things not gone this far and they did talk in the beginning, and I don't think Heavenly would have dialed things all the way back, but I think she probably would have been more mindful. Had Contessa just gone to her like, I don't like this. It really hurt to hear you say these things, or put it out on social media. Can you like please just stop talking about what Scott and I got going on? I don't care what else you talk about, but don't talk about us. You know what I'm saying? And I think Heavenly probably would have shut up for at least for a minute about that. Anyway, Andy ends up bringing like how at all the reunions in the past 8 years that Heavenly is always being shown having issues with people and talking about the people. So they end up showing like several playbacks from different reunions with Heavenly supposedly being in it with different people or whatever. And so he's like, where is the growth? Where is the growth? I don't know what's going on, y'all. It's about the third or fourth emergency vehicle I heard pass. But anyway, he's like, yeah, where is the growth or whatever? So Heavenly, here go Heavenly. Well, I guess I just won't joke anymore. So Andy asked Jackie, well, what is it? What do you think just is not landing for Heavenly? Here go Contessa. Oh, she's just going to take up for her. And Jackie said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do what you three do over there and take up for my friend. She was just like, when she's wrong, she's wrong. And I call her out. I've spoken to her about her social media. And I've told her, she needs to get off of it for a while. You know what I'm saying? And so, a viewer wrote in and said that the ladies, they all get on her nerves for ganging up on Heavenly because they all talk shit. Heavenly is not the only person that does that. She's just funnier and she tells the truth. And so Andy asked them, well, are y'all jealous that she has the best reads? Yeah, I don't know why Andy be asking some of these questions because he knows it's just going to set them off. So what did he say that for? He asked that and they just sent Contessa and Heavenly back in it all over again. Contessa goes on something. She better be glad security here. And I'm just like, girl, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Anyway, we see before the guys come up, they switch places. They're getting on stage and the ladies are backstage. And so while the ladies are still back there, we see Anila apologize to Quad. And, she wants them to be in a better place. And she's sorry for, coming at her like she did. You know how she got on her little bus or whatever. And then gonna tell the woman, we need to hug and kiss and make up. And Quad's just like, where you want the kiss? Here go Anila. Quad said the only woman I kiss in the mouth is Simone. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So the men are up. And somebody told Andy, they said, I think it was Eugene said, oh, bless your ears for having to sit out here and listen to these women. And Andy gonna say, yeah, especially my right ear. Y'all know that was the side Simone sitting on her loud mouth. So Andy says the number one rule with the guys is to not get involved in women business. So we end up seeing the package of the men just from over the season doing different things and this, that, and the other. And so then Andy asked Kieran, well, whose idea was it for the moving costume, right? So come to find out, it was Anila's idea. But Kieran was just like, let's take it up a notch and get a moving van. So that part of it was his idea. And he said it was just funny. You know what I'm saying? He thought the whole thing was funny. So Andy ends up asking Eugene about moving, why they moved so much, right? And so he goes on and on about why they moved from this house, and then why they end up moving from that house, and then why they moved yet again to this. You know, he had an excuse for everything. And to me, that's exactly what it sounded like, excuses. I think the only real thing was the time he said that they were in debt. And I think he said they had lost like $200,000. I'm just like, you lost it or you was in debt that much. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway. And so, Karen says, you know, he wasn't trying to cause Eugene and Toya pain with the joke. He was just coming from a place of just trying to be funny or whatever. He was just like, how did he put it? Like, if it was serious, but he was trying to make it a joke to just kind of lighten the mood up surrounding it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of what he said. But anyway, Eugene said as a friend that once he found out that they had an issue with it, he should have just dialed back on it. You know what I'm saying? But y'all remember Kieran stood 10 toes down on that. He was just like, he didn't care if it offended him or not. So, Andy asked Kieran, you know, does he think he should have apologized quicker once he realized how serious it had affected Eugene? And Kieran but gonna say no. I was like, oh, Kieran. Kieran. I totally get what Eugene is saying. Like, if that was not your intentions to hurt me, but me telling you that it did, then acknowledge how I'm telling you it made me feel. And just apologize and move on from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't dismiss my feelings and how I'm telling you your actions made me feel, you know? So, but anyway, y'all, that was it. That was pretty much it for part 2. And as always, I pray for you all. Y'all, please pray for me. And what? We'll watch God change things. Bye, y'all.